Before we dive into the story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into it. My name is Karen. I'm 29, and I never imagined that trying to protect myself would lead to becoming the villain of my own workplace. What happened to me turned my life inside out, and to this day, I am still not sure if I overreacted or if everyone else just didn't see what I saw. I work at a mid-sized logistics firm. My role isn't glamorous, mostly paperwork, emails, and customer service, but it covers my rent and car payments, and until recently, it wasn't a bad place to spend 8 hours a day. There was a guy there, Trey, who started a couple of years before me. He didn't work in my department, but we shared the same floor. Trey was that person everyone liked, genuinely friendly, always holding doors, asking how your weekend was, and remembering little details you shared in passing. Naturally, we developed a work friendship. We'd grab lunch together with other coworkers now and then, and it honestly helped make the day go by faster. He listened when I vented, remembered things about my life, and had this easy, disarming way about him. I'll admit, sometimes I wondered if he was interested in something more, but I never acted on it. I wasn't about to risk my job for some office flirtation. That's where everything gets murky. Trey started doing little things that made me uncomfortable. Leaning in too close, touching my shoulder during conversations, lingering eye contact from across the office. They weren't overtly inappropriate, and he wasn't doing anything most people would call harassment, but it made me uneasy. Still, I didn't say anything. Everyone loved him. He was the office golden boy. I didn't want to be that girl who made drama out of nothing. So, I adjusted. I'd mention other guys I was talking to, include more people in our conversations, anything to gently push the dynamic back into safe territory. But if Trey noticed, he didn't seem to care. Or maybe he just didn't want to. And then, everything changed on a random Tuesday during lunch. We were sitting in the break area. I was eating a turkey sandwich when I accidentally took too big a bite and started choking. Not the mild kind, this was serious. I couldn't breathe. I panicked, clutching my throat, while everyone at the table froze. Then Trey sprang into action. He said he knew the Heimlich maneuver, and in seconds, he was behind me, arms wrapped around my torso, pressing hard against my stomach. The chunk of food dislodged and flew onto the table. Everyone clapped and called him a hero, but I wasn't cheering. I was overwhelmed, shaken, and honestly confused, because even in that terrifying moment, as grateful as I was to be breathing again, something about the way he held me didn't feel right. He was pressed up against me too closely. I felt everything, and I mean everything. I know he was helping, but the intimacy of it, the pressure of his body, the way it lingered, it felt invasive. And given how uneasy I'd already been feeling around him, the whole thing felt wrong in a way I couldn't shake. I excused myself and ran to the bathroom. I was shaking. My heart was racing, not just from the choking, but from the experience of being touched in that way. So suddenly, so publicly. I knew it was supposed to be life-saving, but it didn't feel that way to me. I kept questioning if maybe he took advantage of the moment. I called my sister that night to talk it through. She listened quietly and then said, "Just because he saved your life doesn't mean your discomfort isn't valid." She told me I had every right to feel the way I did, and that my instincts were worth listening to. The next day, Trey kept trying to check on me. He asked how I was doing, if I wanted to talk, but something about the way he hovered, his soft tone, his closeness, it didn't feel comforting. It felt like he was trying to create a moment between us, like we shared some secret bond now, and I couldn't take it anymore. I spent my lunch break debating what to do. Finally, I decided to go to HR. I wasn't trying to destroy him, I just needed to protect myself and create a record. I explained what happened, how I felt his private areas against me, and how, despite the context, it left me feeling violated. I detailed our past interactions, the subtle ways he made me uncomfortable. HR said they'd investigate and promised to keep it confidential, but that's not how offices work. By the end of the week, everyone knew something was up. Whispers started. I became that girl who reported the hero. My coworkers distanced themselves. Conversations stopped when I walked into a room. Even Trey changed overnight. Gone was the friendly guy who chatted at the coffee machine. He wouldn't even look at me. He treated me like I didn't exist. It was worse than any awkward flirtation night. Was like I was invisible. and the rest of the office followed his lead. I started questioning everything. Maybe I had overreacted. Maybe I read too much into it. Maybe I ruined a good man's reputation for no reason. Jessica, a coworker I thought I could trust, told me bluntly, "You should have just thanked him and moved on. Now you've made things weird for everyone." The isolation became unbearable. I ate lunch in my car. I applied for transfers within the company, but word had spread. No one wanted the drama girl on their team. Meanwhile, Trey was promoted. He got praised for his leadership and character. I was left with a reputation I couldn't shake. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I tried to speak to Trey privately one evening to clear the air. I told him I never meant to hurt him, that I'd been scared and confused, but he cut me off. Calmly, he said he understood I had to do what I felt was right, but he had to protect himself now. He said he would never interact with me again outside of strictly professional necessity, and even then, only with witnesses present. His words stung more than I expected. Next time someone's in trouble, I'll think twice before helping. You never know how people will twist your intentions. That's when I realized how far gone everything was. I'd tried to protect myself and set boundaries, but in the end, I became the villain. I was alone, doubting my instincts, wondering if I'd destroyed something or someone. Months later, things never got better. Trey stayed distant. My coworkers remained cold. I started job hunting quietly because I knew I couldn't stay in a place where I was constantly viewed as the problem. I still don't know if I was right or wrong. Maybe I should have just said thank you and moved on. But all I know for sure is that speaking up cost me everything, and the silence afterward hurt worse than choking ever did.